DevOps also fits to the business so very well because it is able to solve all the business demand problems. It's more aligned to the business. The more something is aligned to the business, it's going to stay for a longer time. You understand, right? The research and development does not stay for a long time because if there is no acceptance from the market, that product or that thing is going to die. If something aligns to the business, it's going to run for a longer time. This is a monolithic development life cycle, a typical life cycle. I have developers. I have a single application. I might have hundreds of developers because a single application, say for example, Salesforce.com. It's a single application for the company. He might have, how is he running the business? I'm sure he has to have a developer, right? Without the developer, how will he keep doing improvement? He'll have hundreds of developers. All the developers are running on a single application. So what they do, once all the developers finish the development in a month, they will implement it on this application. Say everybody will do together, all the codes taken together for all the 100 developers will be taken together. We will do a build, test, and then release. What is the problem? If something fails in the build, it becomes very tough to see which developer's code actually went faulty. Make sense? We are doing this because there's a lot of admin work involved to do a build, test, and release. To reduce the admin work, I'm going to say, hey, all the developers, I'm saying this is before the DevOps came into picture. Okay? The typical way of doing the life cycle of software. I'll tell all the developers, hey, you have 2 weeks time to finish the project line. All the 50 developers finish your codes, give it to me. I'll tell the administrator guy to do your single build test. If it is all okay, then we'll release it to the app. But what if something goes wrong? It becomes very easy, very tough for me to track down, understand that, change that, and it's going to take a longer time. What if I had a better approach? Instead of doing that, I will go with a SOA, okay? Instead of doing that, I will say each developer or a group of developers, instead of 50, I will say 5 people create a service. I'm going to break down my application into smaller services. Instead of a single application, I am breaking my application into small services. Each service is built by 5 developers. Now, I will do a build, test, and release for each service. You see, I am trying to minimize the action now. We will give it to the developer, and now the developer is not dependent on the administrator. He has access to tools like Jenkins and code pipeline, where once the development of his portion is done, he can go test it separately. Do you understand? The group of developers who are working on a single service, they can just go test it separately. I don't need more people to handle my build, test, and release. So now the work is much faster. If something happens during the 50 developers together, everybody has to wait until the problem is solved. Here, out of the 5 or 6 services, if one service doesn't work properly, I know the fact I have to catch hold of only those 4 developers, and the rest of the developers can work on the next task. Efficiency is increasing. I'm using the developers in a more efficient way. The more efficient way I use, the product lifecycle is going to be shorter. The product is going to be becoming better in a shorter duration. I will have better marketing. I'll have better customer, more revenue. You see how this DevOps tool is actually impacting the revenue? Yes. Instead of getting a product stable, stabilized, ready in 3 years, now I am able to do it in 10 months. I start enjoying the profit after 10 months. You're able to understand what is happening? Yeah. So if you see, continuous delivery is what? Nothing but this is a cycle now, not one-time activity. Take the service, build it, put it, test it, all fine, release it. Go back, again, take the service, build it, test it, release it, all fine, go back. It's a continuous delivery, right? And we call this breaking down of the application into small services. We call that as microservice lifecycle. Okay? What is microservice? Basically, is the smallest component of an application. Now, when somebody is developing an application, today they don't build it as one big box. Why? Troubleshooting is a problem. If I have to change something in that, I have to change the whole code somewhere because it is tightly integrated. Yes? IRCTC, when they came up with the software which they had, it is a single piece of software which was running inside the railway station ticketing system. But today they have decoupled it. They've decoupled it so much that they can add new services on the fly. You see the improvement on the website of the IRCTC. Whenever they want to change, they are able to change. They first said Tatkal tickets are from 8 o'clock, and then suddenly they changed it to 10 o'clock. See the flexibility they have to change things overnight. That's possible only when you start decoupling the dependencies and breaking down your complete application, which is your IRCTC, into smaller parts like microservices. And you attach these microservices. When you don't want it, you just remove that component of microservices, build one more out of it and attach it, which is an improved version. Today, the world is going towards microservices. So microservices are nothing but a small component which is a finished product in itself. Small component which is a finished product in itself.